Alrighty, these will be the people news. Okay, my last couple of videos about a woman um, standing on the probable cause. Okay, where is it? All right, so this is going to be part 3, but it's in a different deal with an interview with the Justice Revolution. Okay, so she's going to kind of talk about it a little bit towards the people and not towards the government, and kind of explaining a little bit, minus that a short video. So she's kind of going to clear some things up in her little process. If you guys want me to run through this and make my points through there, let me know. But the Justice Revolution, if you go to it, you'll see the whole hour and 15 minutes of it. All right. But I thought this part right here was really interesting. Let's go.
Out here. He's like, do you have a picture of this? And he goes to the attorney, have you even ever been to their property? He's like, no. And I go, oh, I happen to have a picture right here. I'll show you. So I bring him the picture of my driveway.
Oh, by the way, she's talking about why she's in court and she's addressing the judge.
Right? And he looks at it and he goes, what? My neighbor does this all the time. He's like, this is why we're here? He's like, why did you bring this case to my courtroom? And the attorney's like, this is great. He's like, well, we thought if we filed this, we could get them to comply.
This is what they're doing. They file against us so they can get us to comply. And this is the reason why they've been ignoring a lot of the procedures, right? Especially the probable cause. Who's the victim, right? Well, they want to collect that revenue. So they bypass the victim and they think themselves as a victim when they're just, well, the fiction. They cannot be harmed.
Oh, he said that on the record?
Wow. And I said, wow. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it was great. So yeah, so that, the judge dismissed it. And, I haven't taken any counter offensive actions as of this point. But, because after that, it was because I still had, like, up until, a few months ago, I had other levels of agencies showing up left and right that I was just constantly on the defense. But yeah, I mean, after filing the criminal complaints, after filing judicial complaints, like all the criminal citations, disappeared. And it's really just been a matter of, never consenting, never complying, and flipping the script. Really, like, I don't acknowledge what you're talking about because I don't have to know. I don't have to know your ordinance. I don't have to know your code. Well, I was like, I asked the code inspector at one point, I said, by what authority are you issuing this citation? And he goes, well, it's just commonly accepted. I said, well,
that's not an authority.
That doesn't actually work for me. I said, I need to know the law. I was like, what authority?
Right. It's just commonly accepted. We always been complying with them. And then you go ask an attorney, and then they'll give you a bunch of U-Hauls and never actually challenge it the way she's been challenging, the way I'm telling you, the way a couple of other videos telling you, right? Where's the man or woman making the claim? That is the actual true due process, people. And Lord behold, I'm telling you right here, right now, you're going to go talk to an attorney, and they're going to just basically say, well, that's just the way it is.
I'm like, you're committing a crime. You're impersonating a law enforcement officer. Do you not understand that? Like, do you not understand? Like, you can't do this. And, like, so above and beyond, like, our rights that are secured by the Constitution, I found when you're dealing with administrative agencies, if you just look up the rules of civil and criminal procedure and just like show that, because they literally have to violate it in order to shove us into their administrative boxes. They have to violate the rules of civil and criminal procedure, because administrative code and administrative procedure doesn't apply to the people. So it's like, you guys are just dumb. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you're dumb. Like, I don't really know what else to say, and like, but
And see, I never really even thought about it in that particular way. So again, that's the reason why I do these videos. I can go back to it and remind myself, right? Just sit there and think about what she is actually literally saying, right? They got to violate their own rules to get us to comply. That way we go in there by consent. And we know it's wrong of what they're doing, but everybody around us is telling us it's the law. But they're breaking the law, misleading you to get you in there to comply. Therefore, you are breaking the law as well.
they're just compartmentalized and trained. I'm just doing my job. Like, how many times I heard, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
And in the second video with Carol, like, I said, it's like, I was like, you don't. She's like, I've been doing this 20 years. I've never heard of such a thing. I said, well, that's too bad. You have now. I was like, that's not my problem. I was like,
That's an admission she's been committing crimes for 20 years because she doesn't understand her job.
right, and that's exactly what we said to her. I was like, so you've been committing crimes against people for 20 years? I was like, that's pretty bad. Like, and like, I don't claim to like know everything, but I was more or less put in a situation where I had to defend myself. It would have cost us a lot of money,
Yeah,
they're going to take as much from you as possible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is it that you want? Like, you want to scare us, you want to fine us, you want to make us comply, you want me to shut up. Apparently, like, you want me to shut up. That's fine, but like, they just, my goal is, and you can see a little in the video, when I have interacted with them, I try to inform them. Like, I'm like, listen, I'm standing in honor. I did nothing wrong, and I know that you don't understand that right now, and I'm just trying to like explain it to you without causing any harm. But you're at the point where you're harming me. You're harming my family. My little kid, I have an 8-year-old who's like, Mom, can they?
And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, just kind of shorten this a little bit.
And that must have been somebody who was at my hearing. I said,
Let's back up a little bit. Listen to that. Read that.
or whatever, whoever they're representing, they're not representing. They're just all, making sure the system survives.
Right.
So this question here on the screen is they're asking you to tell us what you said to the judge that made him sit back in his chair and gain his composure. Was it save life, liberty, and property?
I said.
So listen carefully and start doing this as well. Put their heads on the chopping block.
Because I said, and that must have been somebody who was at my hearing. I said, is it the intent of this court to force me to act repugnant to the Constitution?
Oh.
And he said no. I said, well, is it your intent to force me to act repugnant to the Constitution? And he said, nope. And that's when the whole thing flipped.
Right.
It just flipped.
Yeah.
Asking questions is so powerful.
Yeah. Right. I said, they want me to permit. And this was this is why I need to get the transcript. I said, and there was the woman, the transcriber, literally her jaw dropped because I said, you know, they want to force us to a contract which will require us to not only contract with multiple third parties, but a contract that will force us to spend over $70,000 of our money. I said, that's called slavery, and I am not their slave. And
voluntary servitude. Yep.
I said, and like they all just like sat there, jaw dropped, and it just shifted the entire thing. It was like, no, like, you know, you can call it what you want. You can call it a permit. You can call it an inspection, but it's a forced contract, and your inspection is a warrantless search. Like, done. Like,
you cannot be I mean, this has been said so many times before. If I can't force you to do it, you can't force me to do it. And the same is true with people who claim to be from the government. Because again, Shannon, who has all political power in this country?
The people.
The people. So if we hold all the political power, we delegate power to government officials to do what? Well, it's supposed to protect our rights.
Yeah.
But when they violate those rights instead, their authority comes from we the people. So if they're violating, their authority is gone. They have no authority. Here we are.
There's one higher too, because under God's law, no man has authority over another. It doesn't matter what fictitious organizations and regulations and rules that they choose to make up so that they can have power and rob you. No man has authority over another. Period.
Yeah.
Right,
and I had to do an extension. So sovereign citizen's been brought out there a lot. Okay? And all that kind of stuff. So let's go with sovereign citizen for argument's sake. Okay? So if I'm a sovereign citizen and you are a sovereign citizen, we're still equal. I have no more authority over you than you have over me. So therefore, even as you've been a sovereign citizen, you still have rights. And if you're just a man or a woman, you have rights. If you're just sovereign, you have rights. You cannot cause harm, damage, and loss to another, whether you're a sovereign citizen, whether you're sovereign, whether you are man or woman, whether you are a person, the legal terms, right? There's that equal base. It's got to be respect for one another with, you know what I mean? Once you do that, and there's no respect, and you're causing harm, that's a trespass. Okay, you're trespassing. And that's what the Constitution is. The Constitution is telling directly that the government cannot do these things unless there's this particular line here, which in short means I cause harm, damage, or loss to someone. And that Constitution is telling the government, do not trespass upon the people. Do not trespass upon the man or woman. Judges out there, if you ever see my videos, this is not complicated. The Constitution applies to you, government, not to the people. The only way you can come into our jurisdiction, the people's jurisdiction, is if there's actually harm, loss, and damages. Then there has to be what? A claimant under affidavit, under penalty of perjury. That way I can face my accuser in court. Again, back into what? The Constitution. I'm allowed to face my accuser. Right? We're going over here. Drug war. Right? Look, I understand because there's family members out there that's heavily into that deal. But it's a private matter between another private matter. The only way that they should go to jail is if they go out and steal for their fix, because now they created a victim. But the government is not a victim. Oh, they broke the law. No, they entered a private contract. Hell versus Hinkle, you're not allowed to intervene. All right, a little lady on the corner of the street selling her product. Okay, whether I agree with it or not, that's a man or woman's private contract. Hell versus Hinkle. Their two are conducting a private business, not a citizen excess, not a creature of the state, but a private business. It's a private contract. Hell versus Hinkle. Stay the blank out of their affairs. It's not complicated. But again, if you got to go do something to do your fix, and you steal something to get that fix, then there is a victim, and you should be sentenced accordingly from the victim. These are We the People News. Bye, y'all.